I never thought I'd be the guy telling my story. My name is Maylor. I'm 29. I work in corporate marketing. Average life, average apartment, average routine. But 6 months ago, something happened that made me question everything I thought I knew about trust. Let me take you back to where it all started. It was a regular Monday morning, coffee in hand, emails piling up, the usual chaos of deadlines and client calls. That's when Arwina walked into my life. She was the new hire, marketing coordinator, bright smile, sharp eyes, the kind of person who lights up a room without trying too hard. We were assigned to the same project team. 3 months, high stakes campaign, long hours together. At first, it was just work, professional, clean boundaries. But then she started staying late when I stayed late, bringing me coffee the way I liked it, laughing at my jokes a little too much. I'm not going to lie, I noticed. She had this way of leaning in when we talked, touching my arm when making a point, texting me outside work hours about campaign ideas. It felt good. I won't pretend it didn't. My girlfriend Sarah and I had been together for 4 years. Things were comfortable, maybe too comfortable. Arwina brought excitement, energy, attention. But I never crossed the line. I kept it professional. I thought I was being smart. Looking back now, I realize I was being played. The first sign something was off came during a Friday evening. We'd just wrapped a big presentation. The team went out for drinks. Arwina sat next to me, closer than usual, her leg pressed against mine under the table. You know, Mailer, she whispered, her breath warm against my ear. You're different from other guys here. More real. My heart raced. I pulled back slightly, laughed it off, but she didn't move away. When Sarah picked me up that night, Arwina waved goodbye from the bar entrance. Her smile seemed different, calculated. Sarah noticed. Who's that? Just a coworker, new girl on the team. Sarah looked at me for a long moment, then nodded. But I saw the question in her eyes. Over the next few weeks, Arwina's behavior intensified. She started dressing differently. Tighter clothes, lower necklines. Always when she knew we'd be working together. She'd lean over my desk to show me something on her laptop. I could smell her perfume, feel the heat from her body. Do you think this looks good? She'd ask, showing me campaign mock-ups. But her eyes weren't on the screen. I'd clear my throat. Step back. Keep it professional. But then small things started to change. The first crack appeared during a Tuesday morning team meeting. My manager pulled me aside afterward and said, my bed. Mailer, I need to talk to you about something sensitive. My stomach dropped. Arwina came to me yesterday. She seemed uncomfortable. She mentioned you've been making some advances toward her. The room spun. What? That's not true. I'm not accusing you. I'm just letting you know. She asked to be moved to a different project team. I felt sick, angry, confused. I'd done nothing wrong. If anything, she'd been the one pushing boundaries. But who would believe me? I went back to my desk, hands shaking, mind racing. Arwina wasn't at her desk. She was in the break room, laughing with other coworkers. When she saw me, her expression shifted. Innocent, almost shy. She came over. Hey, are you okay? You look stressed. I stared at her. Why did you tell our manager I made advances on you? Her eyes widened. Perfect fake surprise. What? I didn't say that. I just asked to switch teams, for personal reasons. Personal reasons? She lowered her voice, stepped closer. Mailer, I think you're great. Maybe that's the problem. I'm starting to feel things I shouldn't. I thought distance would help. She touched my hand. Gentle. Vulnerable. For a second, I almost believed her, but something in her eyes didn't match her words. I pulled my hand away. I think distance is a good idea. She nodded, smiled sadly. I understand. But as she walked away, I saw her glance back, and for just a moment, her expression was cold. That weekend, Sarah confronted me. I saw the messages. My blood turned to ice. What messages? She held up her phone, screenshots, text conversations between Arwina and me. Except they weren't real. The messages showed me flirting, suggesting we meet up alone, saying things I'd never said. Sarah, I never sent these. I swear to God, I never. Then how does she have them? How does she have your number? Your personal number? I grabbed my phone, scrolled through my messages. Nothing. No conversation like the one in those screenshots. This is fake. Someone edited these. I don't know how, but Maylor, stop. Sarah's voice cracked. Just stop lying. I'm not lying. But she was already grabbing her coat, her bag. Sarah, please. She turned at the door, tears streaming. I trusted you. I defended you when my friend said you were distant, when they said something felt off. The door slammed. She was gone. I stood there, alone, shaking. How did this happen? I called Sarah 50 times. She didn't answer. I called Arwina, straight to voicemail. Monday came. I walked into the office feeling like a ghost. Arwina was already there. She avoided eye contact. But I noticed something. She was sitting at a different desk, closer to the senior management area. During lunch, I overheard two coworkers talking in the hallway. Did you hear? Arwina's getting promoted. She's moving to the executive assistant role. Really? She's only been here 3 months. I know, but apparently she impressed someone high up. My hands clenched into fists. Something wasn't right. I spent the afternoon digging, going through old emails, team documents, anything that might explain what was happening. That's when I found it. An email thread. Accidentally CC'd to the entire project team instead of just management. Sent 3 weeks ago. From Arwina. Subject: Strategic Position Advancement Plan. I opened it, read slowly. My vision blurred with rage. It was a detailed plan, written in cold, clinical language. Target: Executive Assistant role under VP of Marketing. Strategy: Create opening by discrediting current team lead candidate, me. Method: Establish close working relationship. Build evidence of inappropriate workplace behavior. File subtle complaint. Use personal connections to fabricate supporting evidence. Timeline: 8 to 12 weeks. Expected outcome: target removed from consideration. Position opens. I step in as reliable alternative. There was more. Screenshots she'd planned to use, names of people she'd already talked to, a fake Instagram account she'd created to send herself messages from me. Everything was calculated, planned, methodical. I wasn't a person to her, I was an obstacle. Sarah, my reputation, my career, all of it was collateral damage in her game. I sat back in my chair, breathing hard. The worst part? She'd made one critical mistake. She'd sent this email from her personal account to her work account, and she'd accidentally included the project team distribution list. IT policy meant emails couldn't be deleted from the server for 90 days. She didn't know I'd seen it, not yet. But they made one mistake. They thought I was broken. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in my apartment, lights off, laptop glowing. I forwarded that email to my personal account, saved screenshots, backed everything up to 3 different cloud services. Then I started digging deeper. Who was Arwina, really? I searched her name, her LinkedIn, her social media, and I found a pattern. This wasn't her first time. 2 years ago, she'd worked at a tech startup, left after 6 months. Her predecessor, a young male project manager, had been fired for harassment. Before that, a consulting firm. Same story. Another man removed from his position. She'd been promoted shortly after. She had a system. She was good at it. But she'd gotten sloppy this time, maybe overconfident. I couldn't go to HR yet, not without a perfect plan. If I accused her without overwhelming proof, it would be my word against hers, and she'd already planted seeds of doubt about me. No, I needed her to expose herself. I spent the next week being the perfect victim. I avoided her at work, kept my head down, let rumors spread. People started looking at me differently, whispering. Some coworkers stopped inviting me to lunch. It hurt. But I needed everyone to see me as weak, defeated. Meanwhile, I was building my case. I reached out to her previous companies, connected with people she'd worked with on LinkedIn. One guy responded, former colleague from the tech startup. Dude, she destroyed my career. HR wouldn't listen to me. Everyone believed her. I'm glad someone's finally seeing through her act. He gave me details, documents he'd saved, similar email chains showing her planning. I had a file now, 3 different companies. Same pattern, same methods, but I wasn't done yet. I needed her to confess or slip up publicly. So I set a trap. I created a fake email account, made it look like it was from a recruiter at one of our competitor companies. Subject: confidential opportunity, executive level position. I crafted it carefully, mentioned her impressive track record of strategic career advancement. Used language that would appeal to her ego, her ambition. The email asked her to describe her most successful professional strategy. I sent it on a Wednesday evening. By Thursday morning, she'd responded. And she bragged, in detail. She described how she identified obstacles and removed them strategically, how she created narratives that positioned her as the solution. She didn't name me specifically, but she outlined her entire method. Perfect. I forwarded her response back to her from a different account. With one line, interesting strategy, does Maylor know? Then I waited. Friday afternoon, I got called into my manager's office. Arwina was there. Looking nervous, she avoided my eyes. HR was there too. The VP of marketing, head of legal. My manager looked uncomfortable. Maylor, we need to discuss some serious allegations. I nodded, stayed calm. I understand. Arwina spoke up, voice shaking slightly. I think this has gone too far. I never wanted... Before we continue, I interrupted, I have something you all need to see. I opened my laptop, pulled up the original email she'd sent. The planning document, then the evidence from her previous companies, the recruiter exchange, everything. I laid it out, piece by piece, calmly, factually. The room went silent. Arwina's face went white, then red. That's taken out of context. There's no context that makes this okay, the VP said coldly. She tried to argue, tried to spin it, but every word made it worse. The head of legal stopped her. Ms. Arwina, I think you should consult with an attorney before saying anything else. She looked around the room, desperate, trapped. For just a second, our eyes met. I saw the moment she realized she'd lost. I didn't smile, didn't gloat. I just watched as her carefully constructed game fell apart. Security escorted her out an hour later. She didn't look at me as she passed, just stared straight ahead, jaw tight. Her desk was cleaned out by end of day. But what came next changed me forever. The office felt different after Arwina left. People who'd whispered about me started apologizing. Some directly, some through awkward small talk. I should have known better. I'm sorry I believed the rumors. You handled that with a lot of class. Their words should have felt good, validating. But mostly I just felt tired. My manager pulled me aside Monday morning. Maylor, I owe you an apology. We should have investigated more thoroughly from the start. I nodded. Yeah, you should have. He looked uncomfortable. Good. We're promoting you to team lead, and we're implementing new HR protocols because of what happened. The promotion felt hollow. I'd earned it months ago. Now it was just compensation for trauma, but I accepted because I'd fought too hard to walk away now. The company sent out a vague internal memo about personnel changes and commitment to workplace integrity. Arwina's name was never mentioned, just erased, like she'd never existed. Part of me felt satisfied, justice served, but another part felt empty. I'd won. But what had I really gained? Sarah still wasn't talking to me. I'd sent her everything. The emails, the evidence, proof that I'd never betrayed her. She'd read the messages. I could see the read receipts. But she didn't respond. 2 weeks passed, then 3. I threw myself into work, stayed late, took on extra projects, anything to avoid going home to my empty apartment. One Friday evening, I was the last one in the office, cleaning up files, organizing my new team lead responsibilities. My phone buzzed. Sarah. Can we talk in person? My heart stopped. Yes, when? Now I'm downstairs. I practically ran to the elevator. She was waiting in the lobby, wearing the jacket I'd bought her last Christmas. We walked to a nearby coffee shop, sat by the window. She looked tired, beautiful but tired. I'm sorry, she said finally. I should have believed you. I should have trusted you. I wanted to be angry, to make her feel what I'd felt, but I just felt relief. I understand why you didn't. The evidence looked real. That's not an excuse. She looked down at her hands. I chose to believe the worst instead of fighting for you. That's on me. We talked for 2 hours about everything. The trust we'd lost. The distance that had grown between us long before Arwina showed up. How we'd both been going through the motions. Comfortable but not connected. Maybe this needed to happen, Sarah said quietly. Not the way it did, but maybe we needed to wake up. I reached across the table, took her hand. So, what do you want? She squeezed my fingers. I want to try again. Really try. Not just exist together. I nodded. Me too. We didn't fix everything that night. Trust isn't rebuilt in one conversation, but it was a start. Over the next few months, something unexpected happened. I got a LinkedIn message from one of the women Arwina had worked with before. Thank you for exposing her. She's done this at 4 companies now. You're the first person who actually proved it. Then another message from the guy at the tech startup. Because of your evidence, I was able to reopen my case. The company's reviewing my termination. I might get my reputation back. I hadn't thought about that. How stopping her meant protecting future victims. How my revenge wasn't just about me. That realization changed something inside me. I wasn't just a survivor of her manipulation. I was proof that predators could be caught. But there was still one piece of the story left. 3 months after Arwina was fired, I received an email. From her. Subject: I'm sorry I stared at it for a long time before opening. The message was short. Maylor, I know you have no reason to read this or believe it, but I need to say it anyway. I'm sorry. What I did to you was wrong. What I've done to others was wrong. I've been in therapy, trying to understand why I became this person, why I turned ambition into destruction. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. I just wanted you to know that you were right to stop me, and I hope you found peace. You deserve better. They all did. I read it twice, then a third time. Part of me wanted to believe she meant it, that people could change. Another part remembered the calculated coldness of her planning document. I didn't respond, but I didn't delete it either. Sometimes the most powerful response is silence. Not forgiveness, not hatred, just moving forward. Sarah and I worked on our relationship, went to couples counseling, had hard conversations. Some days were good, some were hard, but we were present, really present. At work, I led my team differently than I'd planned, more carefully, more aware. I implemented policies to protect people, clear documentation, multiple oversight channels, making sure what happened to me couldn't happen to someone else. 6 months after everything fell apart, Sarah and I went away for a weekend. Small cabin in the mountains, no work, no phones, just us. On Saturday evening, we sat on the porch watching the sunset. Do you think about her? Sarah asked. About what she did? I considered the question. Sometimes, but not the way I used to. What changed? I realized she didn't take anything from me that I can't rebuild. My reputation came back. My relationship with you is stronger. My integrity was never actually in question, only my ability to prove it. Sarah leaned against my shoulder. That's very zen of you. I laughed. I don't feel zen, I feel realistic. She tried to destroy me, she failed, and I survived not by becoming like her, but by staying myself. And that's enough? It has to be. We sat in comfortable silence as the sun dipped below the mountains. For the first time in months, I felt something close to peace. Not because everything was perfect, but because I'd stopped needing it to be. Betrayal had broken something in me, but in the breaking, I'd found clarity about who I was, what I valued, what I wouldn't compromise, and that's when I realized this story wasn't about them anymore. A year later, I'm sitting in my office. Team lead, respected, trusted. Sarah and I moved in together last month, really together this time. Not just sharing space, we talk, we fight fair, we show up for each other. The company asked me to speak at a new employee orientation about workplace integrity. I almost said no. Didn't want to relive it publicly, but then I thought about that guy from the tech startup. The others Arwina had hurt. How my silence might mean someone else gets hurt. So I said yes. I stood in front of 40 new hires, told them a version of my story. Not for sympathy, for awareness. Manipulation doesn't always look like manipulation, I said. Sometimes it looks like friendship, like opportunity, like someone who sees your potential. I watched their faces, some skeptical, some understanding. The lesson isn't to trust no one. It's to trust carefully. Document everything and speak up when something feels wrong. After the talk, a young woman approached me, early 20s, nervous. Thank you, she said quietly. Something similar happened to me at my last job. I thought I was crazy, that I'd imagined it. You didn't imagine it, and you're not crazy. She nodded, eyes wet. I'm glad I came here. I'm glad people like you are willing to tell the truth. That moment made everything worth it. Not the revenge, not the vindication, but the possibility that my pain might prevent someone else's. Last week, I got a notification. Arwena's LinkedIn showed she'd moved to another city, another company. Junior position, fresh start. Part of me wondered if she'd really changed, if therapy had helped, if she'd learned. Another part knew I'd never really know. And that was okay. My story with her ended the moment I chose not to let her define me. Sarah found me staring at my laptop. What are you thinking about? Just how far we've come, both of us. She kissed the top of my head. We're not the same people we were a year ago. No, we're better. Better because of what happened, or in spite of it? I thought about that. Both, maybe that's the point. We don't get to choose what happens to us, but we choose what we become after. She smiled. Look at you, getting philosophical. Trauma does that to a person. We laughed, real laughter, the kind that comes from surviving something together. That night, I wrote down everything that had happened. All of it. This entire story. Not for revenge, not for closure, just for record, for truth. Because betrayal lives in silence, in the spaces where victims feel too ashamed to speak. And I decided I wouldn't be silent. Betrayal broke me, cracked me open, made me question everything. But it also rebuilt me. Stronger, clearer, more careful with my trust but not afraid to give it. Arwena taught me something valuable even if she didn't mean to. She taught me that some people see relationships as transactions, opportunities, games to win. But she also taught me that I'm not one of those people, and I never want to be. When I look back now, I don't see a victim. I see someone who fought back with truth, who refused to let manipulation define his worth, who turned destruction into growth. That's not revenge. That's survival. That's becoming someone your past self would be proud of. Sometimes revenge isn't payback, it's peace. If you've ever trusted someone who hurt you, I hope this story reminds you of something important. You're not weak for trusting. You're human. The person who broke that trust is the one with the problem, not you. And you have a choice. You can let that betrayal define you, make you bitter, closed off. Or you can let it refine you, make you stronger, more aware. I chose the second path. It wasn't easy. Some days it still isn't. But I'm here, still standing, still trusting, still growing. And if I can do it, so can you. If this story resonated with you, leave a comment below. Tell me your experience, your truth. Sometimes just knowing someone else survived makes all the difference. Hit that like button if you believe in justice, in truth, in the power of not giving up. And subscribe if you want to hear more real stories like this. Stories about betrayal, revenge, and the healing that comes after. Because we all have stories. We all have scars. But we also have the power to turn those scars into wisdom. And that's something no one can take from you. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being here. Stay strong, stay true, and never let anyone make you doubt your worth. I'll see you in the next story.